Hello and welcome to Cancer season. If you're just tuning in for the first time to Embodied Astrology, my name is Renee. Welcome back to all my longtime listeners. I'm so happy to be here with you. Your Cancer season horoscopes are coming right up, but first I need to tell you a couple of things. 1, I have recorded horoscopes for Cancer, Leo, Virgo, and Libra seasons all together in the last week. They're going to be edited, so you'll be getting your readings as the seasons start, but I need you to know this for 2 reasons. 1, you're going to see me looking pretty much the same for the next few months. And also, I'll be expanding on some themes that are continuous across this stretch of time, which is basically from the end of June until the end of October in 2025. Also, I want to tell you that I did this because of what I see upcoming in this year's astrology. Surprise, surprise. It is a lot of change, and I wanted to create some more space for myself to get out of my comfort zone and business as usual so that I can be more responsive to some of the changes that are happening in my life, including here at Embodied Astrology. I also wanted to tell you this because it's a great time for any of us to get out of our comfort zones and business as usual. So if you've been feeling a bit restless lately, or like you're anticipating something, or maybe just that you need a change, please, 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 my friends, schedule ahead and plan to disrupt your own rhythms so that you can be available and actively participate more generously with the changes that are trying to happen, especially in the next 4 months. On that note, I have done my best to outline what I see happening in the next months and years astrologically, and I'm including a bonus reading for the collective in Cancer season in this season's offerings. This is about a 20-minute listen, and you can find it linked in the show notes or wherever you found this reading. Please listen to it. There are some messages I really want to share with you. And finally, as I mentioned a moment ago, and as you'll hear me talk about in the bonus reading, there are some changes upcoming at Embodied Astrology. Now, if you've followed my work for a while, you know that I am not here to be a brand. I'm not trying to dominate the astrology sphere or convince anyone that I have all the answers that you need. In fact, Embodied Astrology is a project that is increasingly committed to democratizing astrology and engaging with it as an emergent strategy that anyone can access as a lens for mapping time, revealing complexities, and helping us understand how we got here, what we're doing, and what the deeper potentials are in any given situation or relationship. As the challenges of living together on planet Earth intensify, human beings need truly non-binary languages that can help us bridge the gaps between our own biases and experiences. The synthesis of embodiment practice and astrological thinking is one way we can create this kind of language. At EA, this is what we're investing in. We're putting our resources towards designing and maintaining study groups where people come together to work together. We're actively fostering co-leadership and co-authorship and creating spaces where astrology can expand its potentials through application with other modalities such as conflict transformation, design thinking, urban planning, psychotherapy, and more. Everything we offer is always offered with flexible pricing and sliding scales. Unless capacity is limited, no one is ever turned away for lack of funds. And we consistently redistribute at minimum 10% of our net profits to Indigenous-led environmental protection projects and mutual aid for under-resourced communities. So this brings me to a request, which is this. If you have ever benefited from our work, if you enjoy my monthly readings, if you attend our events, or think you want to someday, please help us to continue to grow and expand our work. In the next 6 to 12 months, my personal goal is to start funding an emergent astrologer space, where the work of a diverse group of astrologically oriented practitioners from many different backgrounds can research and produce writing, art, education, and other kinds of content that is specifically focused on meeting the practical, spiritual, and relational needs of right now. I know that times are tough and budgets are tight, but if every one of our listeners donated $1 a month, we would meet 100% of our operating costs, and we'd be able to not only keep creating monthly horoscopes and regular podcasts for free and offering all of our classes and workshops at sliding scale, but we'd also be able to do so much more. As if this wasn't already an exchange, we are working on a special membership for donors of all amounts, but things like that also cost money to map out and administer, and our team is small and our resources are limited. One thing I can say is that within the next few months, we will be rolling out an ad-free content space. And for the time being, in order to support the work we're trying to grow, we are turning on ads on all of our distribution channels. I know it's annoying. I also know you know how to fast forward. But please know that we're only using them so that we can stay here. If you appreciate this work, please support it. You can sign up for a recurring donation or a one-time donation of any amount in the show notes below. You can also support our work so much by sharing it with your friends and networks and helping boost us on the algorithms by liking, subscribing, and commenting. Another great way to support this work is to purchase our products like the 2025 year ahead readings for your sun, moon, and rising signs, which are all discounted now by 25% because we're halfway through the year. And finally, one of the best ways to support us is to attend our events because most of what we do actually isn't streamed on a podcast. You can find me every Monday in my weekly virtual class on Zoom, Somatic Space, where I offer week ahead astrology forecasts and gentle adaptive movement, meditation, and visualization practices to help us make the most of the current transits. If you become a Somatic Space member, you'll also get access to our twice monthly chart reading study groups, led by my colleague Alisha Mawji, where you can learn more about your chart and astrology through conversation and connections with wonderful people who just might become wonderful friends. We also have regular workshops and events, such as what I'm calling our upcoming reunion tour, with 3 facilitators who have been enormous parts of making embodied astrology what it is: Junata Petrus, Ramon Gabrieloff-Parrish, and Sherry Taylor. Junata is a Cancerian, and she's up first for a very special Cancer season offering of soul sweetening. We'll be leading together and taking turns offering prompts to embody, contemplate, and create with Cancerian energetics and practices we've each cultivated to support us personally through big feelings, trying times, when bonds feel tender, and when uncertainties abound. If this sounds like something you want and need, it's here for you, live or recorded. No one turned away for lack of funds. Okay, thanks for hanging in with me and listening to all of this. You can find more information about everything I just mentioned in the show notes. Please find my reading for the collective for an important general message for Cancer season. And now, onto your horoscopes. Hello, Virgo. Welcome to Cancer season. I love your chart for Cancer season. I have to say that out of all the charts I've been looking at, I like the one for Virgo the best. It feels like Cancer season is really opening up some big new kinds of dreams and possibilities and opportunities for you, especially when you are taking the risk and taking the chance to go for what you want. That is not always so easy. And a lot of times it does feel like a risk. And it does feel like if you take a particular chance, you might lose some others. And I think that some of you have some pretty important considerations that you are weighing that could have to do with resources, with capacity, with time, and also with what just feels like your inner needs, your psychological needs. There may be pretty significant reasons why you might not take a chance for something right now that would have to do with what has happened before and maybe with what has happened to people that you know or what is happening just in general in the world right now. It does not feel like the easiest time for a lot of people to take a lot of risks, and it is a very risky, dangerous time. And so to increase that in some way by going out on a limb and trying something different and new, I would understand why some people would choose not to. But Virgo, I feel like you are taking some kind of risk. I think I said this in your Gemini season reading. I think I was talking about like dangerous desires or something that's coming back to me right now. And I really have this strong feeling as I look at your chart that you are going for it. And I don't know what it is for you, but I think you're going for it. Cancer season starts off with this kind of possibly tense, but also possibly very motivating, really dynamic quality that is a changing point. And there are lots of different ways that astrology can collapse and expand into multiple different time scales. One time scale that I'm pretty sure I talked to you about last month is a time scale with 2020 to 2025. Basically in 2020, a cycle began that for you, I feel like you were getting a lot of cues at that point that you need to transform your life in a really kind of holistic way. And I am talking about the details of your life. I'm talking about the rhythm, the structure, the schedule, what you're looking at, what you're eating, what you're thinking about, the environment, how you're feeling in your body, etc. Something has been happening for you over the last 5 years that is really bringing you to a place where it feels like you're going, this is my life, this is my time, it's not perfect, it's not ever going to be perfect. This is the life and the time that I have. I'm going to do the things that I need and want to do. I'm going to be the person that I know that I am, and you are being decisive about it. Now, there's another timeline that we can also consider that is a 12-year cycle. And if you think back to 2013, 2014, you might think about what was happening at that point. And how were you taking the opportunity of your own life and your own expansion seriously then? And in what kinds of ways were you seeking growth? And were you going out on a limb? And were you seeking opportunity? And what did you learn from that? And what have you been learning since then? And what were the repercussions of what you did then? And reflecting back on that now, what can you do now that honors the lessons from then? The other timeline that we can consider is the future timeline. And here I would give you 12 to 15 years in the future. So let's say 2038 to 2040. Hopefully, the earth and the planet and as many of us as possible are still here and we are in good shape by then. Fingers crossed. What you are doing now has consequences. And these consequences are going to play out in important chapters. You can orient yourself strategically right now in a 5, 10, 15-year kind of segmented structure. In 2040, where do you want to be? And I'm going to ask you a very specific question about this. What do you want to have gained from the last 15 years? And let's say that you are alive and thriving in 2040, okay? And if you can't, for some reason, imagine that, then maybe imagine what you're going to be leaving behind for those who will benefit from what you are doing now. So in 15 years from now, what are the outcomes? What are the fruits of your current decisions, your current projects, the ways that you are taking chances and taking risks? And I want to invite you to reflect on this in some ways to encourage you to be bold right now. And to recognize that between now and 15 years from now, there will also be changing, there will also be points of change in the cycle. So 10 years from now, 5 years from now, let's start off smaller, 5 years from now in 2030, around then, how do you want your mind and perspective to be shifting because of what you're doing right now? Is anything that you're doing right now going to create conditions that require you to learn different languages? That's a metaphor, and it's also completely a literal question. So are you learning different languages literally? Or maybe you're picking up new skills. Maybe you're learning to relate with people in a different way. Maybe you are recognizing how your perspective can get really changed by what you're doing right now, and a whole new area of life and growth might open for you. 10 years from now, what are the energetic and spiritual consequences and outcomes of what you are doing right now? What do you want them to be? If you can conceive of any part of what's happening for you right now in 2025 as part of a spiritual path, how does this unfold over the next decade? And then 15 years from now, what do you collect? What do you harvest from the decisions that you are making now? 12 years from now, in 2037, what new opportunities can you imagine for yourself if you really pursue the course of discovery that you are on right now? Okay, I'm just throwing those questions out there. Make the meaning that's meaningful for you. If any of them spark something for you, roll with it, reflect on it. As I mentioned, I'm offering those points of contemplation for you because I hope they help you be more bold. I think that you, especially as we move into Cancer season, the first week or so of Cancer season, I think there's some kind of like tension for you where basically you're feeling like, could I really do this? I don't really know. And you might have a lot of reasons why you can't. And I have said this already, but I think those reasons are good reasons. I think they're real reasons. They deserve respect. But there are also real reasons why you want to be moving in the direction of some kind of growth and expansion, and it feels like a new adventure. It feels like you are broadening your horizons in some way. It feels like you want to make new kinds of connections, meet new kinds of people. You are wanting to spread your awareness. You are wanting to grow. And this energy of opportunism and expansion for Virgo, first of all, I want to say, like, wow, I'm really glad that this is the time for you right now, because it has felt different in your chart at other points. And secondly, I just want to say that your optimism, your good energy, your faith, that's what opens doors for you. So when you engage with this kind of reflection process that I proposed, where you're thinking about 5, 10, 15 years from now, what might happen because of what you are doing now? And when you think back to 5 years ago or 12 years ago, what happened because of opportunities that you actually went for versus what happened if maybe you didn't? I don't know how many times I've heard this from various sources, but I feel like I've heard it a million times, and you probably have too, that people are asked as they are on their deathbeds, what are their regrets? And it's never, gosh, I regret taking that opportunity. It's like, I regret not doing the things that I wish I would have done. And Virgo, I feel like you're in a kind of moment right now where you could not do the thing. And there would be good reasons for you to not do the thing. And I'm sure that there would be plenty of positive things that would happen in your life, and you would learn and you would grow regardless, okay? But some of you want to do something right now. You want to try something. Maybe you are already doing it and you're already trying it, and you're asking yourself, like, could I have more of this? Could this actually be for me? My feeling is yes. If you want a yes or no answer, I'm going to say it's yes. It is for you, and you can do it more, and you should do it. Okay? Okay. So there's a new moon on June 25th. It is a new moon in Cancer. It is conjunct with Jupiter. This begins a new solar cycle, a new synodic cycle for Jupiter. And over the course of the next year, and 12 years, so when I was asking you to reflect on 12 years, I was thinking about Jupiter cycles. It takes 12 years to orbit the zodiac. It is currently in the sign Cancer. For Virgos, Cancer rules the 11th solar house. This is a place of good spirits, opportunities, luck, gifts, generosity, Basically, you have the luckiest planet in the zodiac in the sign of its exaltation in the luckiest place of the chart. Go do it. It is time for you to do it. I don't know what it is. Okay. On the new moon, 24th, 25th, do a kind of ritual for yourself. Invite in the positivity, invite in the optimism, invite in the growth. Connect with your best self, your biggest energy, and your sense of true, sincere, authentic generosity. You have very particular gifts to give in this lifetime, my Virgo friends. What are they? You know what they are. Even if you're too humble to admit it, you know what they are. Or at least you know some of them. And I'm going to say that the biggest gifts that you have to give are the ones that feel the best for you to give. So our blessings come through our joy and deep satisfaction. And I have experienced this over and over and over again in my life, that when I move in the direction of what really makes my heart happy, I am supported. And when I do the things that I think I should do, but it doesn't make my heart happy, doors close. Life is like, no, it's not for you. So use the new moon energy, this new Jupiter synodic cycle, to really reflect on your bliss, on your joy. It might feel selfish in this particular moment of life on planet Earth for you to be reflecting on your bliss, on your joy, what makes you happy. Virgo, I promise that it's not, because you have a lot to give, and you give your best and you give the most when you are giving from your best self, you're from your biggest heart and from your purest love. And your life right now is asking you to focus and concentrate on your biggest love, on your biggest heart, on your sense of optimism. And that is what wants to carry you into the next chapter. And this is a really powerful time to set these kinds of intentions. And I think that that kind of practice can help give you courage, clarity, support for working with some of the things that feel like they might be blocking or getting in the way. Okay, we'll talk a little bit more about that, I'm sure, right now, okay? Because guess what? Mercury is retrograding. Mercury is your ruling planet, and so whatever Mercury is doing, we definitely need to know for Virgo, because it's a very important influence. On the 26th of June, Mercury enters the sign Leo. This is the sign that comes right before yours. And on the 29th of June, Mercury begins its pre-retrograde shadow phase. On July 18th, Mercury will be stationing retrograde, and it will station direct on August 11th. So the majority of Cancer season, Mercury is direct, but it is in this pre-retrograde shadow. And what can often happen in this phase is that some of the themes of the retrograde start to make themselves known. And when we're working with the energy that comes before yours, so in this case, the energy of Leo, we are working with your unconscious and the environmental factors that affect you. We are working with the realms of everything that you cannot control. And there's a traditional association with this place in your chart that is about hidden enemies. Now, sure, some people have like actual enemies and they don't know about it, and those people are out there trying to sabotage them or like be a sniper or something like that. But I'm going to say that I think for most people, hidden enemies are the ones that are hiding in plain sight in our own psyches, and we are often our own worst enemies through the ways that we unconsciously sabotage ourselves. I will also say that I think that, especially in the environment that we live in today, and I'm saying we, and it's like people are in vastly different situations, but also wherever you are living at a time of climate crisis, through the Anthropocene or whatever you want to call our current era, and the environment is deeply, deeply suffering, and so of course are we. And hidden enemies can really be environmental factors. So it can be about something is in the air, something is in the water, something is affecting you that you cannot see, and you don't know what it is, but it's having negative effects in your body. And in this way, the 12th house of a chart wheel has a lot to do with health and also with illness. Now, Mercury moving through this part of your chart, even though it's a retrograde, is not a huge cause for concern. So I don't want you to take that information and now feel freaked out, because I know how Virgo energy works sometimes, and, don't go there. Where I want to go with this is talking to you about what's holding you back from taking this leap of faith. And I think that this Mercury retrograde wants to help you get in touch with some of your inhibitions, insecurities, work through some baggage, unprocessed trauma, etc. And part of, I think, what it might be coming through with this retrograde really has to do with the parts of yourself that you may have shoved to the side because you felt like they were like unserious, like, oh gosh, that's really childish, or, oh, I can't do that anymore. Nobody's going to take me seriously. Or, you just get on another path in life, and then you think that you grow out of something, but actually you deeply long for it, but you've completely forgotten that you love it so much, kind of vibe. And I think that a lot of you are having experiences right now where you are remembering something that is really important to your heart, and something that's really important about your joy and your delight, and what feels inspiring for you and what brings you optimism. And this is the energy of growth in your chart right now, is optimism and enthusiasm. I love the word enthusiasm because the meaning of the word, when you look at the etymology, is to be full of God, right? Like to just be full of spirit and be like, yes, like I really believe in this, right? This sense of embodied faith is enthusiasm. And Virgo, you are recovering, I think, some part of your enthusiasm. You are recovering some part of your heart. And this Mercury retrograde really, I think, wants to help you feel into that. Now, before Mercury stations retrograde, so as we move into the month of July, there are some important things happening for Virgo, particularly, that have to do with the your fellow Mercury-ruled sign, Gemini. Also a sign on the mutable cross. Gemini holds the heaven of your chart. It's a very important place in your chart. It has to do with what you are doing in your life in a really big way. So who are you in the world? Your, your personal brand, your reputation, your public image, career, vocation. These are contemporary meanings of this place. But I think that this is also a place of adulting and lineage and legacy and what you build of your life. And what you build of your life happens over time through consistency, dedication, and iteration. You don't know the final shape of it until the end. But of course, it's a constant project. And depending on what part of your life you are in right now, certain kinds of things may feel really resonant. And I know that career and life purpose and also adulting are resonant with this place for a lot of people. So take what works, leave the rest. On July 4th, Venus moves into Gemini, and 3 days later, July 7th, the outer planet Uranus makes its first entry into Gemini. Now, Uranus will be stationing retrograde in September. It will move back into your fellow Earth sign Taurus in November. But next year, in April, Uranus will cross the cusp again back into Gemini, and then it will stay there until 2033. That's a long time. Uranus has an 84-year orbit around the sun. Unless you are over 80 years old, 85 years old, you have not experienced this ever before. And there is a good chance that you never will again. So this is a once-in-a-lifetime kind of situation. And because this is the heaven of your chart, this is the place of your aspiration and your growth, and you have this outer planet influence coming in, I am going to say it is time to expect the unexpected from yourself. First and foremost, you are wanting to take a new path. Now, you might stay on the same path, but change it up. If you've been a librarian for 40,000 years and you just love the library and you definitely don't want to switch careers, you might just be like, I'm going to be a singing librarian now. It's like you want to make it weird, right? It's like whatever it is that you do that, but make it weird. And I don't know what that means for you, but you need to find your own unique way with the way that you are going with your life. You want to stand out from the crowd right now. There's something about your instincts that are innovating, and they have a quality to them that might feel kind of chaotic and erratic and destabilizing, but ultimately they are liberating because they want to help you get free of formulaicness and stuck feelingness with anything that you have been really concentrated on, especially again when it comes to career, vocation, and life path. Now, as I mentioned, this is a transit that is going to have a retrograde. You aren't totally ready to just jump into the new thing right now. I think you really are in a moment of speculation and opportunism and thinking about what could happen if. And that is where I am going to wrap up this reading. There is a full moon on the 10th of July, so just a couple days after Uranus enters Gemini. This full moon is in Capricorn. It is a very creative place in the Virgo charts. The astrology of Cancer season for Virgo, like I said at the beginning, I like it in your chart the best so far. Kind of wish I was a Virgo just for this season because it looks like a lot might be coming through for some of you. And what do I want to say to you, Virgo? I want to say have fun. I want to say have fun. Life is never going to be perfect. It is guaranteed to be full of suffering. There's no such thing as a totally safe space. You definitely are going to die. You could die a totally boring death tomorrow, like super boring. You know, you could trip and hit your head on the side of a counter and boom, gone. So maybe you do want to go hike up that volcano, you know? I'm sorry to be morbid, but like if I was going to choose between dying in the belly of a volcano or tripping and hitting my head on the side of a counter, I would definitely choose to die in a volcano. Okay, so make the meaning that's meaningful for you. I'm not saying go jump off the edge of a volcano. I am just saying take the risk. I know that there are reasons to not take the risk. I know that you are holding a lot in your psyche, in your heart. Some of you are experiencing big losses. Some of you are feeling the immensity and the density of the collective field right now, and you are in grief. You are mourning. You are feeling fucking angry. You want to do something about it. The world is going to continue to be the world. And the way that you are going to make the most difference and the best impact is to follow your heart right now. That is going to lead you in the direction of the biggest gifts that you can give, the biggest generosity that you can extend, and the path of the greatest fulfillment and learning. Okay, Virgo? Okay. So let's close this with a embodiment that is meant to just kind of help you feel into the nature of time. I like doing embodied astrology because the embodiment is what stays with me. So I can spend a long time with the information of astrology and it kind of like comes and goes in my mind. And sometimes it makes sense and sometimes it doesn't. And a lot of times, even if it makes sense in my head, if I'm only in my head about it, I don't really know what to do about it. So the reason that I am really trying to offer embodiment practices in these readings is because the practice makes an impression, and then whatever sticks with you from the reading can get anchored into the practice. And the more that you do the practice, the more that the parts of the reading that are meant for you are going to stick with you and integrate in your body mind, hopefully in wonderful ways. So I want to tune in with you with time. And I want to invite you to feel that time is like a river. And if it feels comfortable, maybe close your eyes or soften your gaze and start to tune in with the back of your body. Bring your attention to the back of your skull, back of your chest. Sense all the way down the backs of your legs, even into the backs of your heels. And can you imagine that right now you're standing in a river and the river is flowing in a direction that is moving into the space in front of you. And so you feel the current of the river pressing against the back body. And let's just say that this is a gentle current. You can stand fairly easily or float, tread water fairly easily in this river. It's not a dangerous situation, but you can feel the current flowing and moving you into the space in front of you. All right, Virgo. So as you tune in with that sense of current, I also want to invite you to imagine that there is a countercurrent. And oftentimes you'll feel this like in the ocean, right? So as a wave rolls in, the undertow is pulling the opposite direction. So maybe a little bit deeper in the river, there's another current that you can feel flowing in the opposite way from what feels like in front of you to what's behind you. So as you imagine these sensations, I want to invite you to make this imagination a metaphor. And let's say that this river is the river of time. And just like a river doesn't have a stop-start button, time is also constantly flowing. It is flowing, it is flowing, it is flowing, it doesn't stop. All right, Virgo, how can you relax your body right now to allow yourself to be moved by the current of time, moving through your body? Some currents can take you into the past. Some currents can take you into the future. At any point, you could follow either current. At any point, the past might be a place that is important for you to visit, to reflect upon, to be nourished by, to learn from. At any point, you might just really let go into the current of the future. As you experience your life right now, I want to invite you to imagine that you are just there in the river of time, and start to get a little bit curious about when and how and where you might be resisting the current. Are you holding on to a branch that got caught in the middle of a bunch of rocks and you're not going to let yourself flow in either direction? Are you really trying to tread water, waving your arms around, kicking your feet, trying not to move? This river can take you in a new direction. At any point, you can follow the current into the past or into the future. Neither is better. Your job right now is to notice when you're allowing the current to take you and when you're trying to stay still inside the river of time. Haha. All right, Virgo, I'm going to pause there. That felt like these embodiment meditations come to me just intuitively. I don't plan them. So that felt I'm a little unsure. I'm just going to say that, but I don't know why that came to me. I do know, the feeling that I have of why it came to me is that there are some reasons why some of you are like, no. And I don't know what these reasons are, but it feels like you're holding on to something and you're not sure if you want to follow this current. And the feeling that I have for you is the river knows the way. You don't need to fight the current. All you need to do is trust it. You need to find a way to allow yourself to trust the current to carry you in the direction that you need to go. Sometimes you do need to revisit the past. Sometimes the past will visit you. And there is a cyclical, layered quality of time. But right now, your life, I feel like, is really asking you to soften and go with the flow. And so if that meditation does anything at all, maybe what it does is just lands with you as an image of being in a river where there's a current, and you can choose whether or not to float along with the current or to try and stay in one place. But the river is not going to stop. It is going to keep flowing. And at some point, if you stay only in the same place, then that is the only place that you are going to experience in this river of time. And I feel that this river wants to take you somewhere else. Maybe that means something to you, maybe it doesn't. Let me know in the comments. Virgo, I love you. Thank you for entertaining me a little bit. I hope this reading is entertaining for you, and also I do hope that it is helpful. I'm sending you all the best in Cancer season and beyond. Bye for now. Thanks so much for tuning in with me, y'all. If this message feels supportive for you, please help support me by liking, commenting, subscribing, and sharing this work with your friends and networks. Check the show notes for other ways to support the work at Embodied Astrology, including getting your 2025 year ahead readings, which are now 25% discounted, or coming to the Cancer Season Workshop, which I'll be co-facilitating with the one and only Janata Petrus, or attend one of my weekly classes or the bi-monthly chart reading study groups with Alisha, or become a sustaining donor. There are so many ways to support this work and so many ways this work wants to support you. All that information and more in the show notes. I'm wishing you all the best in Cancer season and beyond.